Gear Talk Radio. You're in to all things music.
Welcome to Music Gear Talk. Discover the tech that inspires the pros and powers today's music industry.
It is another Music Gear Talk on the mighty Intertalk Media. Connect to all things music. Obviously, you guys also know us as Intertalk Radio, but as of now, we changed over to media because we're more than just radio now. We have radio, television, and also have a music channel where we're playing music from all of the artists that we've featured on the network. And then, of course, coming up soon, we're going to have a photo gallery of some of the great music photographers, so you guys can check out all the fun things. And we'll first start off with all the great pictures that we had with Michael Lynn taking over at the NAMM show. But today we are connected with a company that was at NAMM, and they did a great job, and a couple of gentlemen that are helping to drive this particular product and really kind of inspire next generations to take up music. We have Mike DiCesare and Dwight Cheu from Jamboxx, and Mike is the president, Dwight is the CEO. So we are definitely talking to the big guns today over at Jamboxx, and they're really cool gear. Say hello, Mike and Dwight.
Yeah. Hey guys, how you doing?
This is Dwight, and thanks for having us.
Awesome. Thank you guys for joining us, and for all the cool things that you guys are doing over there. I don't want to steal too much of the thunder because I want you guys to kind of tell a bit about it. But Mike was the founder, and David, you've kind of stepped in with what I'm seeing a kind of a deeper business acumen. How did all this get started? I think it's with you, Mike, right?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I invented the Jamboxx with my really good friend who is a quadriplegic from a skiing accident. And so he lost the function of his hands, and he always wanted to be able to play music, but there was nothing available for him. The only instrument that he could play was a harmonica. So we saw that there had been like attempts to make MIDI harmonicas in the past, and none of them are really commercially available or that successful. And we just said, hey, we're gonna try to make one ourselves, and we wanted to be able to trigger, all the DAWs that were becoming popular at the time, and we've been at this a pretty long time,
almost 10 years.
Almost 10 years.
Really? Wow, that's awesome.
Different iterations, and
this must be our fifth generation.
Yeah,
product.
fifth generation product. But we're doing a relaunch now, and we'll talk about how we got to the point where we are. But we've just been tirelessly working on this product because we've seen that it's had a very big impact on the lives of some of these musicians that have disabilities that can't really play anything else, but it's also kind of morphed into a product that the mainstream population is adopting, and musicians who want to add another layer of expression or performance to their gigs and that type of thing are using the Jamboxx to play over a guitar, over a keyboard or something like that.
Wow. So there have been a number of MIDI controllers, but yours is quite a bit different. Obviously, I'm used to like the Yamaha saxophone styled wind controllers and a bunch of other things. And then there's been some that were, would just take breath and, the pressure of the breath and kind of adjust to, do different type of, effects or swells and stuff like that. But yours is quite a bit different. Talk to us about how that plays out.
Sure. This is Dwight, and it's shaped like a harmonica, and it has a mouthpiece that slides left and right. And by sliding left and right, you can select the note you want to play. So it can be configured as an 8 or 10 or 12 or even 16 note instrument. And obviously, because it's a MIDI wind controller, it can make any sound from any instrument you want. And the beauty of it is when mounted in a bracket that we include, it's a bracket that can be mounted onto a microphone stand. It can be played completely hands-free. So it has a great range of expression. It can play any instrument. And it also has a mod wheel on the side that can be used for pitch bend or vibrato or modulation. It's basically because it's digital instrument, you can configure it for anything. And our software allows you to configure it to do that vibrato or the pitch bend, or you can set up different channels. We call them presets. And one preset, you might have the wheel do an octave change, octave up, octave down. Or another preset, you could have it set for a note jump. So it could go up half a note or down a half a note. So it has a lot of flexibility. It also has a button on the bottom. And normally that button is used to switch between presets. So you could cycle between instruments if you wanted. And there's also a switch on the bottom. And that switch is a normal analog switch. And you can mount it to any type of pressure sensitive or foot pedal of any sort. And Dave Whalen, who's the other co-founder, who's a quadriplegic, he mounts a chin activated pressure switch right on the side of the Jamboxx.
Oh, that's awesome.
So he can change instruments or change presets.
Change everything on the fly.
Yeah. I think that's great because, like you said, people who may not have use of their limbs or other elements of their body, they definitely have a passion for music, and this gives them that ability to play along. And you never know who that musical genius is that may not be able to do something with their hands, or and most people, there's not really that much much instrumentation for the feet. So this is pretty remarkable. I think that's why we talked before. That's why you folks are kind of got dialed in with the NAMM Foundation, which is their educational side of the NAMM organization. I guess I'm jumping to the second segment already. How did you guys get connected to that?
Well, that was just at the NAMM show. I mean, we were fortunate enough to be out at NAMM and share a booth.
They saw our product.
Yeah, we were out there with MIDI.org, and they saw our product and invited us. I mean, we do a lot of work with schools. The Jamboxx has been widely adopted in a lot of schools, and it's a great way to introduce kids to music, and it's the Jamboxx is really easy to play. It's always in tune. And
there's no key figuring to learn. You just blow into it.
You just blow into it, and we can adjust the scale. So like you could just really start playing a blues scale in any key, and you can't play a wrong note. So it's got that ability to on the whole spectrum be an instrument that you can have immediate success with, which is where we come into like the school applications for it. And then if you're a pro musician, you can be out, gigging with it and doing a bunch of loops and just making some great music with it.
The other thing that we find is that, especially as we started working with Dave, he has reduced lung capacity just because of his injury. So as a digital instrument, we can adjust the instrument through our software in terms of your breath capacity. So you can be playing a tuba even though you have very little breath capacity. And of course, we also detect breath velocity. So there's expression that you can have with whether you're playing a flute or a tuba.
Yeah. Let's jump back into your backgrounds a little bit, because very altruistic. Obviously, it's still a company for profit, but you guys are looking at a market where there was a real need, and there's a bit of heart to it. So Mike, you were one of the founders, obviously, with the other gentleman. What was your background as you were starting to come into this? What did you do before, and how did you go? Let's jump into this crazy market that's never been developed, because.
Exactly.
I understand how that is, man. When we said let's make a radio network about the music industry, people looked at us like we were crazy. Like, that's so niche. Why would you do that? Because there's a need.
Me too. Oh yeah. So it was. I'm a musician. I was never making a living by playing, but I always just wanted a career in the music industry, but I was actually working for a family company, which happened to be an insurance agency. And I wasn't having that much fun on a day-to-day basis, I guess you could say. So I was working with my family and selling insurance. And it
was a grind.
Yeah, it was a grind, and I really didn't like it that much. And I was just looking for something else to do. I wanted to, I always had this creative streak, and felt like I wasn't really utilizing my talents really in the job that I had at that point in time. So I really made an effort. I saw this as an opportunity of something that obviously had a lot of potential, but it also really needed to be done because there's nothing out there like this.
Yeah.
We're selling products all over the world. We're getting orders from Israel, Malaysia, Australia. It's very gratifying to see people being able to play. There was a guy in a wheelchair that came up to us at NAMM, and he was just overwhelmed by it because he hadn't been able to play a music instrument since he was 17. Yeah. And now this unlocks a capability that he wasn't there. So it's extremely gratifying to be able to make something that makes a difference.
Yep.
That's awesome. Now, with that, you brought, obviously Dwight in to kind of take it to that next level business wise. How did you get into this business, Dwight? Did they just find you in called up 1-800-CEO.com and
well, it was always sort of like all the stars aligned.
Yeah.
Because it was networking, and I've been in startups all my life, all variety of high tech and otherwise video game startups. One of my last startups was in the music industry. I worked with a company called Pump Audio that did independent music licensing. So I had a background. The Jamboxx is actually also used with video games. I had a video game background, and I was at the same stage where I was, I had a fantastic career and great position and making gobs of money, but the passion was missing. And I connected with Mike, and we had a really good connection from that. It seemed obvious that with our focus and drive and interest in the music side of the business, it was a really great marriage.
Well, that is awesome to hear. Yeah, we've got a similar story where I was working for Microsoft. My my partner in crime, Paul, which you just heard, was working for a real estate company, and we had a band together, and we just said, actually, the owner of WS Radio, which is a 14-year-old internet radio network, said, "Hey, why don't you come over here and help me out? I'll give you some space to practice with your band." And we said, "Sure, let's do it. We'll help you out." And the next thing I know, we're doing a radio show by way of connecting up with NAMM, and then here we are now with a network with 18 shows. So it's pretty.
That's awesome.
So we could definitely relate, and I had a great job, but if you're not following your passion, I think that's one of the things that the listening audience, really kind of relates to, because they're all into the music. So we got about a minute left. I want to do a shout out for your URL, www.jamboxx.com, and that's spelled with a little extra piece at the end. So JAMBOXX.com. Make sure you guys go check that out, and there's some really cool stuff. We're going to be coming connected into the second segment. We're going to really kind of deep dive as we possibly can over the radio about the some of the other features and some of the elements of the software here. But before we do that, guys, can you share with us your social media URLs and all that fun stuff?
Yep. Facebook is Jamboxx Music, and Twitter.
Same thing, Jamboxx Music, and same thing with YouTube. It's all just Jamboxx Music with 2 X's.
2 X's, yeah. Make sure, because if you type in Jamboxx, I did that earlier, and I typed in Jamboxx, and it came up to something.
Backstory on that too, but that may be different.
Oh, we got to hear that one in this next segment. So there's the music there. This has been Music Gear Talk on Intertalk Media. Stay tuned for the next segment with Jamboxx.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
This is Jackie Bertoni from Jackie's Groove. Come join me weekly on my journey through the music business as I take you behind the velvet rope, interviewing industry notables such as Al Di Meola, Michael McDonald, and Al Jarreau, to name but a few. Listen to their stories on being in the studios recording #1 hits and onto the stages throughout the globe. Allow me to be your music historian. You can hear me live every Monday at 2 p.m. and every Wednesday at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time or 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com. Ready to get your groove on?
Hi, I'm Tim Dolbear, the host of Sound Experience on Intertalk Radio. Each week, I talk with top professional audio engineers, producers, musicians, and the manufacturers that make the tools that we use in the studio each and every day. From capturing the perfect take to mastering your final release, and the tools and how the pros use them, we are going to dive deep into their process and learn from their experience. I look forward to you joining us each week on Sound Experience with me, your host, Tim Dolbear.
Make this your vinyl night. I'm John J.R. Robinson, and every week, music creation comes alive through stories, experiences, and sounds when vinyl records filled our hearts and minds. My friends and I share our tips and techniques used in creation of iconic tracks for recording artists such as Michael Jackson, Eric Clapton, Quincy Jones, and Steve Winwood, to name a few. Vinyl has emerged hot, and the soul of vinyl defines art and passion which burns deepest at night. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on intertalkradio.com.
Welcome to Music Gear Talk. Discover the tech that inspires the pros and powers today's music industry.
It's the second segment of Music Gear Talk. This is Intertalk Media. I always want to still jump into radio, Paul. I'm the worst one. I always get on everybody's case about saying...
It was your idea in the first place.
I know.
You almost called the show The Changing Stage before. I heard you.
I know. I do. I carry a couple of shows now with this one.
Tino's a very old dog.
Yeah, I've been doing this for quite a while now. All of,
New
4
tricks
years?
don't come easy.
But we are here. Oh, before we do that, I probably should give a shout out to our sponsors. Pitbull Audio, who is an amazing retailer here in San Diego, but worldwide they're one of the top retailers. And I think the biggest thing, Paul, is that they're all musicians over there. They care about the players. They're not just a number. They're not owned by Mitt Romney.
Yeah, really knowledgeable. Everyone is like a top-notch musician and know the gear just inside and out.
Yeah. So we appreciate those guys over there, and they definitely outpower us when it comes down to the gear that we need. So I want to give a shout out to them. SIR at SIR-USA.com, where if you're not buying the gear and you want to rent the gear, that's where you would go to do that. They've been doing that since the 70s, and I don't know. They should start getting offered Jamboxes, man, as part of their rental packages, because they rent pretty much anything that you need when it comes down to being on tour. So
Great.
We should connect you guys up to them. So and speaking of those guys, we're talking with Mike DiCesare and Dwight Cheu from Jamboxx, and that's with 2 X's, not one. JAMBOXX. Make sure you guys get that.
Yeah, that's right.
2 X's are better than one. In fact, there's a story behind that.
Yeah.
How did this 1X versus 2X's thing come about, guys?
Yeah, that's it's kind of a funny story. I guess our first misstep as a company way back. We did a trademark as soon as we decided on the name Jamboxx. I mean, we're talking back, in 2007 or 8, and we came out before the Jamboxx speaker, and
I know it well because I came from before this. I was part of the mobile world. I worked for Microsoft and Nokia, so I definitely remember the Jamboxx. That's upsells.
With the USPTO?
Yeah, we did. We had what's called prior art with the USPTO, but the company backing the Jamboxx speaker actually successfully petitioned the patent office and the trademark office, and got ours kind of nullified,
suppressed.
Yeah, so we were just kind of, the little guy kind of.
Well, they threatened to throw all their attorneys at you too, right?
Yeah, it was pretty nuts. So we
those bastards.
Yeah.
But the end of the story is that the speaker is no longer in business.
Yeah.
Right. I haven't seen it. Well, I left the industry about 3 years, but I haven't seen one. Well, actually, I don't even step into the stores anymore. I try to stay away from mobile all over. But good for you guys, man. You guys,
we survived them, out-survived them.
Yes. Yeah, you and Gloria Gaynor, you guys will survive. That's what it's all about. Well, that's cool, man, and I'm glad because definitely what you're doing. Anybody can make Bluetooth speakers, but you guys are definitely making a difference in this industry. And kind of as we move into that, let's go a little deep dive into it. Give people we talked about the actual physical hardware, but obviously the inner workings and how this all connects up and the cool software. Tell us a bit about that. And it looks like you can do so much with it, but it's not complicated either. So share with us.
Yeah, I mean, as I mentioned, the hardware, basically tracks left-right, movement, and with the button and the wheel, you can determine what chord, key, et cetera, you're playing. But the software really makes the difference. We bundled with a piece of software called Pro Suite, and it gives you that full control over your instrument. So you can decide, for your, how many presets you want to have, what each preset will be playing, what instrument will be playing, what chord, if you want a chord, how the mod wheel works. So there's a setup feature to it, but it also is great in terms of learning to play. We have a learn to play feature where you can just put a backing track on and jam with the Jamboxx, so to speak. Or there's also, we have a function very similar to Guitar Hero where we have, we call it our Falling Notes program, where you can load a MIDI track and see the notes displayed on your screen and play along with them. So we really focus on making sure that the instrument is for everyone, so that whether you're a kid just learning to play or a professional musician, we want to be able to span the entire spectrum. And we think that our software really makes the deal.
Yeah, and it connects up to pretty much any synth VST playing DAW looks like, whether it be Pro Tools or even Ableton Live or GarageBand. And here I've got a question for you, because I've got a gentleman that I mentioned to you before. He's got MS. He is been a master percussionist for the likes of the Beach Boys, the Eagles. Started off with Tower of Power. Can you, and part of MS is it definitely affects your muscles. I mean, that's pretty much a given when you've been diagnosed with that. Tell me, can you do percussion with this? I mean, obviously it's MIDI controlled, so are you able to align, let's say, like a cajon groove and trap sets and stuff like that to the?
So pretty much any VST, any DAW. I mean, right now we're bundling with Ableton. So if you get a Jamboxx, you get a copy of Ableton Live Lite. It's included in the package. But through those programs, I mean, it's very easy for you to play the drum kits and do some looping and have it up and running quickly in minutes. And the drums, the percussion, that's all a big part of what we do as well. Awesome. Yeah, definitely. And like you said, for the newbies that are just getting into it, that is the biggest challenge, is understanding scales and where everything fits. So I mean, I think this is pretty brilliant, guys. I'm gonna kudos on it. I knew a little bit about it, but I'm ashamed to say that I didn't know enough about that, and I'm glad that we're able to share that with all the listeners here. Now, go ahead.
What we find is that a lot of our users have no idea what MIDI is.
Yeah.
They don't know what a DAW is.
Yeah.
And so our software tries to make it as easily and approachable as possible. But what we find is their eyes light up when they realize that they have access to any instrument, whether it's drums or piano or violin or tuba. Just being able to have that range of expression. People the joy in their eyes is just what is really gratifying for us.
Yeah, and I can imagine that's what, again, passion, commitment, and focus, which you guys are definitely displayed here. For the business side of things, I might have to address that to Dwight here on you, or I don't know, maybe both of you guys. Where can people purchase the products? Are they in retailers? Are you guys doing predominantly online? How does that work, and how does the school program work?
And some online resellers. We have not yet broached the brick and mortar retail space. I have a lot of experience in that space, and there's certainly a number of hurdles that we want to make sure that we jump over easily and gracefully when we reach that stage. So we are very much looking forward to having retail distribution, but it's not yet part of what we do today.
Yep.
Gotcha. Yeah, I definitely understand it. I would imagine with something that's so new like this, you're going to need to have trained staff, because if people pick it up and aren't able to show how it works, it doesn't quite people go to brick and mortar still, basically so they could get the touch and feel and trial. So you're going to have to be able to have that. So I can definitely imagine that being there. So so they're basically purchasing it right off your site. Is that how that works?
That's right, exactly. But even in anticipation of being in retail stores where people might want to demo it, we've actually created a demo model that has disposable mouthpieces. So when we are ready to go in the retail space, people can actually come up and try it and use their own mouthpiece and throw it away after they've tried it.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, let us know. We'll get you guys connected with Pitbull Audio. Can be one of your first ones. They're definitely they like things that are boutiquey. They like things that they have the biggest collection of independent guitar selections, pedals. You can name. Wow, God, we got 50 seconds left, guys. I'm like still into this, man.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to bring you guys back. This has been awesome here. 30 seconds. What do you want people to know about you guys before you leave?
Sure. We make an instrument that is for everybody, regardless if it's a physical or cognitive disability, beginner musician or pro musician looking to add to their performances. I mean, it's the whole spectrum.
Wow.
And we're very proud of that, and we just feel like we're on the cusp of something here, and we're trying to just get the word out. So appreciate you guys listening.
Well, thank you guys for joining us. That has been Mike and Dwight here. Stay tuned for our next show. This has been Music Gear Talk.
You know what's all around you every waking moment of your life? Marketing. You're choking on it. I'm Scott Robertson, and when it comes to strategic PR, branding, and marketing, I've seen it all. And actually, I'm still seeing it because bad marketing never sleeps. Join me each week on May the Best Brand Win, right here on InterTalk Radio, and learn how to make the marketing for your brand unforgettable.
Hi, this is Tim Dolbear from Eclectica Studios. I'm a full-time mixing and recording engineer. I work with Grammy winners, labels, and indie artists, using state-of-the-art digital mixing and restoration tools and the very best in analog gear. Really, though, it's my ability to bring tracks to life and fulfill your vision for your music. This has made me sought after by producers and artists worldwide. So spend your time working on music and not chasing a mix down a rabbit hole. Go to timdolbear.com and check out our free one-song mix offer.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
This is Jackie Bertoni from Jackie's Groove. Come join me weekly on my journey through the music business as I take you behind the velvet rope, interviewing industry notables such as Albany Medical Center, Michael McDonald, and Al Jarreau, to name but a few. Listen to their stories on being in the studios recording #1 hits and onto the stages throughout the globe. Allow me to be your music historian. You can hear me live every Monday at 2 p.m. and every Wednesday at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time or 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com. Ready to get your groove on?